50% of the jobs that are currently being performed in the mining sector will be digitalized, will be automated in 5 years. So it doesn't mean that these jobs will be completely ripped off and there will be no other jobs, but it means that the jobs will change. At least 50% of them will not be the same, and they will require very sophisticated skills. And also, when we look at the skills that are being displaced, we see that jobs related to low to mid-level skills are disappearing completely. And these are jobs like clerical workers, plant operators, machine operators, and drivers, trades workers. And these are the jobs that are usually performed by local people. This is not to say that we have to stop digitalization, but it is to say we have to have some policies, skills development policies in place that are also supportive of these mega trends in the mining sector.
It makes me wonder, where's the disconnect? Why is the mining sector failing to attract young people? What is required to actually start breaking down some of those barriers? And for me, this is a clear pace where philanthropy can support. When we start thinking about a question of how do we make mining sexy for the young people, Africa has 60% of population under 25. We are bright, we are dynamic, we are entrepreneurial, we have energy. But I wonder, are we teaching the right things? What is the actual role of mining in our societies? And how can we encourage young people to actually be part of building that dream?
Industry has an exponential innovation and technology, whereas academia is more linear in terms of their service provision. So we repeat the same academic programs, hoping that they will be meeting the demands of the industry, whereas the industry that we speak of today will not be the industry in 4 years when these students will graduate. We definitely have to have more co-op programs that include direct exposure to industry so that students can develop these skills faster than they learn academic skills. Vocational training has been considered mostly as like the second-class education, whereas it's not. Most of the jobs require vocational skills. They don't require PhD graduates. So it's easier for local people to start their mining careers with technical jobs. So we have to trigger more vocational training definitely for committees. This is where the jobs are.
Probably the best incentive to get people to the mining sector is the salary. The mining sector pays at least 3 times more than any other sector. So it's really sometimes puzzles me how a sector that pays so well do not attract as many people. And it's a loss of economic livelihoods, especially in countries, in communities that are really struggling, right? We see the gap in poverty between rural and urban areas within countries. I'm not even talking about across countries. How are we trying to incentivize this? Because this is a huge loss in revenues.
For me, I think a lot of it was also related to the working conditions in the mining sector. First, you have to acknowledge that there's a workplace problem. For example, sexual harassment. Why women do not want to earn 3 to 5 times more? Because they don't want to be exposed to sexual harassment. And we know that this happens in the mining sector. So it's really important. If we're making it sexy for youth, 0.5% of the youth is women. So we have to make it for everyone. And this starts with changing the work culture, I guess. Now we have the opportunity around critical minerals. And I think this can be very interesting for young people because they will be also contributing to a low carbon future if they work in the mining sector. But again, it all goes back to the legacy of the sector and it starts with changing it through acknowledgement.
I find it very exciting because now we start thinking about alternatives and innovation and how do we, it's almost like expanding for the younger generation, for the talent that's coming up. If it's about solutions, suddenly you're talking about, well, what are the new and interesting ways that are possible using science, that will actually reduce the impact of mining and extraction, but also think about that solution in terms of, okay, you can generate jobs that way, it can become a new economy locally. Also requires a new way of thinking and understanding how you apply your skill sets to mind. Because it's not just solving the problem, it's thinking about where that problem is located within the ecosystem.
It's very important to combine competencies of one competency with another. For example, engineering with management. So the cross-breeding of talents of educational system or how they fields in education can actually breed people to be very creative. It's not just about putting people on a job market with a certificate. It's about putting people who are able to be creative, solution thinking, cognitive skill, empathy. I think in the world that we are today, more burnouts than anything else, you need to listen rather than talk.
What you're saying now is that there are new jobs coming up from other sectors. Like we see more environmental engineers, for example. We see more chemical engineers, process engineers. Interestingly, anthropologists, social sciences graduates, they're becoming more and more involved into phases of my life cycle, and it's because there are new opportunities for people from different fields. So I think mining sector itself is also transforming from being concentrated on a certain and very descriptive skill set to becoming more inclusive.